Okay, hi guys, welcome to my new apartment. Now, I know I said this in the last two videos, but I will actually show you around in my next video. I'm just still getting settled. You can kind of see a lot of it now though. Now, one of the best things about this room is that it has a walk-in closet. I cannot explain how badly I need that. So instead of my yarn just being like tangled everywhere in random bags and stuffed under my bed, I can actually organize it and display it. And I know y'all have been missing the podcast. I do want to bring it back like late summer, early fall, but I figured it'd be fun to do a kind of chatty video in the meantime because I haven't done one of those in a while. So you guys asked me some questions on Instagram and I'll be answering those while I sort through this mess. But let me go ahead and pull out what we're working with here, which is going to be honestly scary. Oh, fuck. Okay, here's everything that we need to go through, and I'm thinking about displaying / storing it in this like wireframe shelf thing that's gonna be in my closet. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to sort it by fiber or by color. Right now it's not really sorted at all, but it's like loosely sorted by fiber. But I do like a lot of multicolored pieces where I start with the color story. And I think it'd also just be prettier, so I might try and organize this by color. Let me go ahead and find some questions though. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna take a random bag and start dumping it out. Oh Lord. This is already going. So what the fuck is happening here? The first question is where I get my inspo for what to make. I think the most common is just like social media, right? Like Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok. I have a bunch of ideas saved there. The most obvious inspo is like other fiber artists, right? Like it's something that's already crochet or knit. You're not really like designing something original, like you're just recreating something another artist did, which I do a lot because I think it's really fun. And I also like being able to feature other fiber artists I love. But it doesn't really feel like art to me because I'm like, I didn't come up with anything, right? I just like am able to look at a photo and figure out how to make something. Another big source of inspiration for me is like runway. The Miu Miu Prada, like crochet raffia bags. Bodhi has a lot of cool crochet pieces. Cult Gaia has a lot of like really cool flower tops and dresses. I think that's really fun to look to because it's usually like a little bit more out of the ordinary or less like something you'd find in a regular store. Because that's what I think really gives me satisfaction when it comes to fiber arts. Like some people just want to make nice practical pieces they'll wear all the time. And that is amazing and probably a lot more useful than what I do. But I just like to make shit where if I were to wear it, which I don't, people would be like, oh, where did you get that? Or, oh, did you make that? Because it just doesn't look like something you'd buy in a store. I think what's really fun is just like finding inspiration outside of the like fiber arts world completely. I find a lot of inspiration in nature, especially for color palette. Like the shirt I crocheted, the mesh one where I sewed on the little beads, that was kind of inspired by like the little rocks that you see in the water at the beach. My striped mohair bolero, I don't call it this because I feel like it won't make sense to people. I just call it my striped mohair bolero, but it's actually called my komorebi bolero, which is like a Japanese word for the way that light filters through trees and like the kind of like dappled pattern that it creates on the floor. Because if you ever put like mohair up to light against a wall, it like actually casts a shadow. I want to do some sort of like dress or skirt inspired by the cherry blossoms. I also want to do something inspired by the color palette of the sunset because I'm from Southern California. And when I think about like the most beautiful images of my childhood, it's like a beach sunset and it's like the oranges and the yellows mixed with the blues. It's so gorgeous. So I also really want to do maybe like a freehand knit or crochet piece kind of inspired by that. You can find inspiration anywhere. A lot of my pieces are also like inspired by clothing that's just not crochet or knit. Those like stretchy square tops and sleeves that I make, those are inspired by Issa Boulder, really incredible brand, and they do it in a fabric. I don't know what to do with these like random strips of things I've made. I might just save this for like a scrap pile of these random I-cords. Let me go ahead and sort these full-ish skeins of yarn. Maybe I do like rainbow color order and then neutrals on the bottom row. I don't really know. So if this is gonna be reds and pinks, then I guess this is gonna be like orange and yellow. Where does this go? I might put this in green. So red, orange, yellow, green, brown. But also I don't know if I'm gonna fill up the whole shelf, you know? I'll just put like brown here and white here for now. Pink goes here, blue, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, yellow. Next question for my next bag. Someone asked, have you read The Ballad of Software and Snakes since your Hunger Games obsession? It's funny because like, obviously I know there are some of you that watch all my videos, but I don't think about it that way. And so I forget that some of you really can like see the progression of my obsessions. And I did kind of document me watching like the whole Hunger Games movie series and reading the books. So yes, I finally read it. I think I've mentioned this before, but like I don't have an audiobook subscription. I use Libby, which is like the app version of like the New York or like the Brooklyn Public Libraries where my card is. I'm like borrowing audiobooks. And the wait for that was obviously insane. And I wanted to read it somewhere else, but I also had like used up my free trial on every single audiobook platform. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a break and I'll get it when I get it. I think like last month it finally came off hold and I read the whole thing in one day, which is kind of unhinged. I did like it. I think what I found surprising was that like the scenes that I saw from like the trailer and stuff, the two of them, this is not gonna make any sense if you don't follow Hunger Games, but they look really in love. And so I was expecting the book to be like a very convincing love story, but the book is like all told from Snow's perspective, and it was never giving like true love. Like it was always very intertangled with like possessiveness, wanting to save her. And so to me, like when, sorry if this is a spoiler, when it doesn't end with like a beautiful love story, it just didn't surprise me as much. I surprisingly haven't gotten around to watching it. I've honestly just been so busy with like the move and content. Okay, let's throw these in. This is like teal. So do I put it? I'll put it with the blues. White is down here. Gray. I guess I'll put gray in this left one. Pink, red, blue. This is kind of satisfying. I'll put black. I'll put black with gray. More blue, brown. Wait, look how cute it's already looking. I'm so excited. Wait, this next box I'm so excited for. One of my favorite yarn brands that like, I've never actually used their yarn before. I just follow them on Instagram because I love them. They're called Arcane Fiberworks. They DM'd me and they were like, oh, can we send you some yarn? And I was like, you're joking. Of course. And they sent me way more than I expected. So I haven't even like seen what colors they sent me. Oh, you're joking. Look how pretty. Oh, this green one, I'm actually... You're joking. Oh my god. Okay, I used to have parakeets growing up and our first parakeet was named Icy. And this was like literally her colorway. She also had children with her son, so that was weird. And then we ended up with this like huge cage of incestuous parakeets. Oh my god, this one is so pretty. This is so flowers in a bush coated. Flowers in a bush like really doesn't sound aesthetic, but I think you know what I mean. I feel like if you're watching this video, you probably get the yarn obsession, but I can imagine how hysterical this is for someone who like doesn't care about yarns. It's like, why am I literally nutting myself because of yarn? But look at this colorway. Okay, I think I showed you all the colors and they gave me like, I think 3 or 4 skeins of each one. I actually might save this for last because I want to take a photo of all the different colors and put it on my story. So let me set this to the side. Next bag. Oh, this one is like really bad. I remember. Well, here's my balaclava. I don't know why it's just out here. I should put it with my winter stuff. Okay, this question is interesting. I'm trying to like mix up the yarn and non-yarn questions. They said, do you receive any hate as an influencer? God, this is something I've actually thought about making like a whole podcast episode on. Long story short, yes, I do. I don't think I get a ton just because I have like a pretty niche community. Like my followers are almost all women and the ones that aren't are definitely like the gays and the theys. So it's a pretty safe space that I've curated. Oh my god, I forgot about this gorgeous yarn that I bought. Oh, I need to make something out of this. Anyway, I think when I get like stray mean comments here and there, it's actually very easy for me to laugh it off. So like the comparisons I get for my appearance honestly deserve jail time. It's always like Sid the Sloth, Sid's grandma, the Ice Age baby, Balloony from Phineas and Ferb. Those are like the bad ones. And then I get RM from BTS, which I recognize is totally a compliment, but I personally do not think he's attractive. Army, please do not come for me. I just don't see it. I don't think he's attractive, but I think we look alike. So how do I reckon with that? Obviously, I get some like more flattering comparisons, like Mirage from The Incredibles, who's a baddie for real. I think where it really tends to go wrong is when your content hits the wrong side of the internet. You can do a thing where like you make a video and the brand pays to boost it as an ad on TikTok, and then it will get shown to like a way wider audience. And that often includes like men, which my normal content doesn't reach. And that's when you get all the incels. I did an ad for Bic, and let's just say that like after that ad ran, I added so many comment filters because there's like so many comments of like the alien emoji. Honestly, I do have the same face as the alien emoji, so like I have no rebuttal there, and the alien's cute, so it's fine. But like saying I have no chin, or like I thought she had a filter on her face, or like what's wrong with her face, or like naming all these random disorders. And like as if I might have them. And one or two of those truly doesn't bother me, but I was getting like hundreds of them. And that's hard because then it doesn't feel like this like random one-off mean comment. It's like, oh, so many of you are saying the same thing, so there must be some truth to this, right? It's like how I don't think I look like Sid, but I've been getting it from different people for so many years on the internet that I'm like, clearly like there is some resemblance there. Okay, let me sort this. Blue, white. Should I put these in? Like, I feel like they're so small, but I'll just put them in. Blue. Oh, Lord. Okay, this bag is very ripped, and I think it's mostly untangled, so I can just go ahead and sort it. There was a video that I filmed with my friend Marissa when we were in the Hamptons, because I was her +1 for the Steve Madden brand trip, and the brand ended up paying to boost it. And the shitty part is like, I knew what was coming. I knew there were going to be a ton of comments about the fact that I'm not as pretty as her. And the thing is, like, I do think I'm beautiful, but if you exist on the internet, you will very quickly understand on a relative basis, like, how conventionally attractive you are. And that's like a piece of information I'd love to not know, but I kind of don't have a choice. It's fine if random people on the internet want to call me ugly, but to like compare me to one of my closest friends, and it also puts her in such an uncomfortable situation. Like she's like frantically trying to delete all these mean comments so I don't see them. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like I think my confidence about my physical appearance has definitely taken a hit since I started existing on the internet. Not even because of mean comments, but just because it's really easy to like see people who are more conventionally attractive than you put in what looks like, and like, you know, perceptions, you never know if they're right, but who look like they're putting in less effort than you and just like seeing so much success. How do I say this? It started to make me wish I was prettier so that my career could be more successful. Because I think I've always been very good about like not attaching my self-worth to my appearance. No one is beautiful to everyone. Like, you are always going to be beautiful to some people and ugly to some people. There's no point trying to be beautiful to everyone. And I feel like I was very good about that. But now when it feels like there's such a correlation between like my physical appearance and like my career and how much money I make, sorry, this is like getting so vulnerable and dark. But like recently I have like for the first time in my life just like really been like, I wish I was prettier. Which, I don't know, I want to be open and vulnerable about it, because I think it's such a normal feeling, especially for women in our society. But I don't want to like talk too much about it, because obviously I don't want that to ever be the line of thinking for someone. I've gotten so off topic. To answer the question, do I get hate on the internet? Yes, but like barely compared to other people. And I'd say I'm fairly well equipped to handle it. What is this? Okay, let me find another question before I go into whatever this clusterfuck is. Next question is, what are your favorite types of crochet projects to do? I actually like bigger projects because I really enjoy the process. Like, I really do not make things for the end result, because you guys know like I don't really wear them, and that's why I'm always making things for friends. And so I kind of like these like longer projects that just allow me to flow state more and think less. Because if you're making something small, say like my rosette bralette, like first I'm making the cups, then I'm making the band, then I'm making the straps, then I'm making the ruffle, then just sew on the ruffle. That's one thing I hate, having to sew in my project, which is kind of funny because I literally like do sew. My first TikToks were me sewing, but like if you ask me to sew in the context of like fiber arts, I get so pressed for no reason. Oh my god, I forgot that I literally made half a sweater. Help. But anyway, I think I do like that flower dress, for example. Making the flowers is really fun for me. I love making like the crochet pants and shirt that I made for George for Coachella, because that's like a pretty small hook. It's pretty small yarn. Well, I totally forgot about this. It's like Kira's open knit pattern, but I did some drop stitches. I don't know when I'm gonna finish that. It's like way too hot for that right now, so I'm just gonna chuck that in there with the yarn. Basically, like a lot of the pieces I make, I am constantly trying it on and like undoing and redoing because I'm trying to get the sizing perfect. And that part I don't enjoy because like I can't go work on it on the subway or like work on it with friends, or I do and then I come home and realize I have to undo everything I did. This is so bad, whatever is going on here. Okay, this is an interesting question. How you survive in New York with the cost of living. What I will preface with is that I'm not making a lot of money right now from content. I think I'm like categorically low income for New York City, but I did work in corporate for like 5 years before this. Some of that time I was in finance, so I was making a decent amount of money. Some of that time was also COVID, so I was living at home, so I was able to save a lot more. I'd say the big things, like you can definitely live in a cheaper neighborhood or try to find a better deal on rent. So I actually don't really pay that much more for rent than I was in California. Obviously, you know, like it's a much smaller place than it was in California, but it is possible to find like reasonable-ish rent. I will say the places that I lived in California were also pretty expensive cities. I used to pay like $850 in rent in Philadelphia. You're not gonna find something like that in New York naturally. And I really think like how you choose to live your life in New York can really impact how much money you're spending. Eating out or like getting drinks, you can't just be doing that willy-nilly in New York, right? Like to give you context, cocktails are pretty much at least like $12, $15 before tax and tip. So if you go get like 2 drinks with the girls, that can like very easily become 40, even $50. Their cocktails are like $22. And I'm like, is this a whole ass meal? If you're doing like go with friends and like share a few appetizers and a few entrees and a few desserts and get drinks, like that could very easily go like upwards of $100. So the whole like eating out or getting drinks thing is like very much a special occasion thing for me. My typical hangouts with friends are like, oh, we walk around and get coffee or get boba, although boba can like easily come out to like $10-12 here, and I'm like, what the hell? Or we like go to Trader Joe's and get some, you know, snacks and like have a little picnic. My friends love food, but we will just, you know, share pizza or like get Shein Famous Foods, which is like a pretty affordable like Chinese noodle place, and we'll do like the real sit down dinner like at most once a month. I literally don't know if I can untangle this. My foot is asleep. Okay, sorry for this like birthing position, but I need to bring this foot back to life. Looking at like your spending patterns and figuring out a reasonable budget and just thinking about what spending really brings you joy and like feels important to maintain and what is less important, like that prioritization is really important. Like I don't really shop here. I will make like random online purchases here and there, but honestly a lot of my clothing is just stuff that I already own, or it's like the gifting that I'm lucky enough to get. Okay, the next question is not really a question. They just said pattern testing process, but it kind of goes along with another question someone asked, which is like, how do you design patterns for different body types? All my patterns are made to measure because first of all, like I don't know how to size grade things. Like I feel like if you make something for a small and then use like generic size grading based off measurements, there's a very small likelihood that's going to turn out well. It also depends on the item, right? So if it's like some loose sweater, I think it's like pretty easy to just scale the measurements up and you'll be fine. But a lot of the pieces I make are a little bit more form-fitting. Women's bodies especially are so different. So one of the great beauties of being able to make your own clothing is being able to customize it to your size. That's why, like, even though it makes the pattern writing process a lot more complicated and sometimes harder to explain and harder to follow, like, I make my patterns made to measure because I'm like, if you're gonna put in all the work to make something for yourself, it should really fit you right. Like, if you take my bolero, for example, I have super, super wide shoulders, like wide armpits, but there are people with narrower shoulders. And then, like, the fit, like how you want it to fit. Some people like it super, super loose. Like, I like it to be a little bit more fitted around the armpit so it doesn't flare. Or with my skirt, you know, like, some people want it to sit like super high-waisted. I like my skirts to sit more low-waisted. I think it's more flattering for my body. Okay, another question I got, which is along the same lines, which I also get every time, is my favorite fiber. I mean, I feel like you guys should know that it's cotton. Like, everything I make is made out of Friends 84 cotton. Mohair is obviously really up there for me. Up there for me as an artist, because I think crochet mohair just creates like such a unique textile. But I do like to make summer pieces, and while mohair is like really thin and glowy, it's still like a natural fiber that's meant to keep you warm, and so it's still warm, which I don't like. So cotton is like the only fiber that I really actually, that I think makes like wearable summer pieces, especially for New York summer. It also like kind of holds its shape, right? So it's great for making like the little flowers that I did on that dress. So yeah, I'm a cotton girly till I die. Guys, I think we're about to hit the finish line on this. And thank God, because I am actually about to scream. The thing is, I don't think I'm even gonna use this scrap yarn. Like, I'm probably gonna throw it away, so why am I even bothering to entangle it? I thought it was all one piece of yarn, but it's literally just like a bunch of tiny pieces from when I made that stupid granny square top and then realized I didn't want the last round anymore, so I took the last round off all the squares. But like, when am I ever gonna use these little bits of fucking cream yarn again? Okay, you know what? I'm like actually not gonna use this, so I'm just gonna throw this away. You're done. I haven't even used this yarn before. Why is it so tangled? Okay, we did it. I went off camera again because I was, yeah, like about to spiral out. I think that was the only like tangled mess. So from here on out, hopefully it should just be like sorting again. Okay, this question I actually get a lot. Have you ever thought about creating a fashion line? Or I guess I don't get asked that. I get asked like, oh, why don't you sell your stuff? I mean, if you're watching this, it's probably somewhat, these are scraps, somewhat likely that you crochet yourself. So you know, like, the business model of selling crochet knit pieces is virtually non-existent, right? Because it takes so long to make something. Basically, there's like two ways you can kind of make it work. You can charge like a reasonable price for things and just make like simpler things and churn out an insane amount, and even then you probably won't make that much money. Or you can make an actual margin by charging like more luxury designer prices, but that means that you need to somehow access like this more high-end clientele and like build a brand. Help, I'm just gonna cut this. Build a brand that, you know, will be perceived as luxury by people who shop in that price point. And I can't really see myself doing either, because I have never like wanted to have a brand, because I don't think I have a super defined point of view as, okay, I don't even call myself a designer. This is like a whole other topic that I thought about just making a podcast episode on. I think so much of what I do is like derivative of what I see online and my inspiration, that I think very little of what I do feels original. I also kind of believe that like everything is derivative and nothing is original, and I think I am so locked into like the fiber arts space and all the inspiration that's out there that like everything I do, even if I came up with it on my own, feels like I kind of got it from somewhere else. I think even in the way I dress, like I kind of have a point of view, but it's a little bit all over the place. Like I like to experiment with different aesthetics, and so it's hard for me to imagine myself coming up with a really focused, strong brand identity, which I think is really important, especially if you're like launching something in the more high-end space. Like if you just do the math, let's say I'm selling like a sweater and it takes me like 10 hours to make, and I'm paying myself minimum wage. Actually, I'm gonna pay myself more than minimum wage. So minimum wage in New York is I think $15. So let's say I'm paying myself like $25 an hour. That's already $250. And then let's say like materials cost like 50 bucks. That's 300 bucks already for your sweater. And you probably want to make like a margin on top of that. Most of the people who are like, I want to buy what you make, I want to buy what you make, are not paying like 500 bucks for a sweater. Long story short, no, I don't see myself starting my own fashion line. I guess the way the question is worded, it could also be clothing, but I also don't really want to get in that space because once again, I think I would be stuck in a predicament of either people complaining that it's out of their price range or having to compromise on like the ethics of the whole supply chain and labor. What I would think about doing, and actually I would love your guys' opinion on this because I mean, you'd probably be like sort of the customer for this. I thought about a few things. I thought about a jewelry collection because that's like, you know, a little bit less all in than clothing. I feel like I do kind of have a point of view when it comes to jewelry. Y'all know I really love like my jade, Chinese, East Asian inspired pieces. So I think that could be really fun. And then when it comes to like crochet, I would be much more interested in coming out with like yarn bundles or even starting my own yarn brand. I just think among my followers, there's much more of an appetite for that versus like selling the finished items. There's like a lot of blue and I'm wondering if I should try and separate it out into like darker versus lighter. Okay, this next question is actually kind of related. Your tips on, or my tips on how to build a jewelry collection. There's like kind of two ways to do it, right? Like you can like see a certain stack you like and be super intentional about it. But for me, jewelry is much more like a collectible thing. Like I love to buy them at little markets, even if I know like, oh, this is just like a normal curved chain necklace with like an emerald on it. I could probably find it online, but it's more about like the experience of picking it out. Like a lot of my jewelry I bought with friends at like cute little craft markets or like vintage markets. And I don't know, what is this? Oh my God. Okay. I bought this like pattern from Crafty Hija. It's like this really cool sweater pattern and I totally forgot that I started it and then realized I was not going to have enough yarn. Oh, I remember now. I was thinking it would be cool to make this in like a tan and then do little bits of red throughout, like a kind of like sporadic color block. What was I saying? Oh, jewelry. Like it's a very like emotionally tied experience for me. Like I can remember where I got every piece of jewelry and like who I was with. Honestly, I think that's sometimes why my jewelry collection isn't perfect. Like I don't have like necklaces that stack together perfectly because I just keep buying these random one-off pieces. It's definitely worth going through a Pinterest and like finding a stack you like and just becoming really familiar with the different lengths and the different terms. So for example, like a curved chain, there's like a snake chain. Like I have a problem where I don't really buy dainty necklaces. So I have a bunch of thick necklaces and I don't have like simple pendants to pair them with. One of my favorite pendants, it's this jade pendant. Wait, let me find it, one sec. Because my jewelry's right here. I have two jade necklaces actually. So this one I picked up on the street when I was in Flushing, which is like Chinatown basically. And so it's definitely not like real jade or real silver or anything, which is why it's kind of tarnishing. And so I ended up buying this. This is the only thing I've ever bought off like Instagram shopping. I'll try and find the link. My foot is asleep again. This is what happens as soon as I'm not in the birthing position. All right, another bag done. Okay, maybe I should sort out this blue situation right now, actually. I think I'm gonna put the teal with the green. Okay, I feel like this makes sense. Why is all the white yarn just falling out? Don't do that, please. This is all scrap yarn, but some of it is low-key too big to be considered scrap. Okay, the rest of this I can put to the side as scraps. Okay, we only have like two and a half bags left. There's a lot in this. Help! I thought there was no more detangling, Grace. Who said that? Okay, cobalt blues, orange here. I don't know if I needed a whole thing for yellow. I'm gonna take like the greens, put them up here with the yellow, blue here, teal here. Stop falling out. Actually, stop it. Pissing me off. Oh my god, this is becoming so satisfying to look at. I cannot explain how excited I am to be rid of all these hobby bags. As you can see, half of them are like ripped in the middle. Okay, this is the last bag. More Friends Cotton Age 4. Okay, I There needs to be a better solution for these guys. I'm just gonna put all the cotton, all the small things in here. What is this? Why did I put that in there? Maybe I'll just put this bag like over with the brown. I have a lot of pink. This is actually a really interesting exercise in like what colors I have a lot of. Oh my god, it's all the leftover flowers from the flower dress. Actually, so cursed. What is this? Oh. I don't have a purple section. I'm beginning to realize like I really don't fuck with purple like that. I like eggplant, like I like jewel tones, but I never wear purple and I clearly don't buy purple. I also didn't buy this. They randomly sent it to me with the yellow and I was like, what do you want me to do with this? I'm just gonna throw it with the brown because I don't really want to see it. I have so much blue yarn. When did this happen? Wait, I think that's everything. Oh, I should probably deal with the scrap yarn. I feel like it's not fair to just dump it all in that corner and pretend like it didn't happen. I do have this mooncake tin. If you are like East Asian or just Asian in general, it's like a thing where we all put our sewing supplies in that like Danish cookie tin growing up. It's like one of those weird universal experiences. Well, I'm gonna try and put the larger scraps and like the unused granny squares in here, and then I might just dump like all the real scraps in this existing scrap. Well, I have two existing scrap bags, but I guess I can merge them. What do I do with like my weird unfinished projects? I guess I'll throw these in my non-ripped hobby bag. I do really want to do a scrap yarn project video, but I don't know. I've made a scrap yarn bag before, but that was a situation where most of the yarn weights were pretty similar. And I kind of want to try, like I've seen some really sick knit sweaters where they knit with like really thick and really thin yarn. So I'm going to take a photo of the arcane fiber yarn and then place that in, and then I think we'll be done. Yay! Okay, wait guys, look how good it looks. Honestly, I feel like I don't have an insane amount of yarn. Like I've seen other creators who have way more, although I think they also sell the stuff they make, so that makes more sense. I also didn't think I was gonna fill the whole shelf, so maybe I do have more than I thought. I will say a lot of this is gifted. Like I actually don't spend that much money on yarn because it can get kind of pricey. Let me push this. There's like a little hanging hook thing. So I put my pansy bag and my part tote, and then I took all of my like circular needles and just sort of like hung them on this hook because I feel like they're always getting tangled. Oh, I forgot. I was gonna answer one last question because someone asked about my favorite like perfumes or scents, and I am actually such a geek about this, and my entire collection's right there. So I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite scents, and then we'll be done. Okay, wait, this feels like a really bad idea, but I just want to show you. This is a portion of my scent collection. Okay, I'm gonna put this back down now. I will say I'm very lucky to be gifted a lot of designer fragrances, but I can tell you which ones I actually really like and which ones, you know, less so. My favorite scent is the Palo Santo Sage from Frenchie, which is Ashley Tisdale's brand. And I don't know how to describe this. Like, I guess it's like kind of citrusy, kind of woodsy. It's so like light and refreshing and relaxing and very different from everything else I've smelled. Because I have so many designer scents, and honestly, like a lot of them, if you had me smell them, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference because they're so like sugary or just floral. But this one, this is like basically my everyday scent. I love it. Then I have this, which is the Edinburgh from Chanel. So I actually went and did like the Chanel Beauty experience in New York where you blind smell everything and then you narrow it down to one. This is a weird scent, and that's why I love it. Like I've never smelled anything like it. It's inspired by like the Scottish Highlands, like Edinburgh, and it kind of just like smells like the woods and maybe like a little bit of like dirt and tree. I can't, it's really not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's interesting. And then for like more girly scents, I love these two ones from Prada. This is the Infusion de Rose and this is the Infusion de Vanille. Because the thing for me is like, if I'm going to do something more floral or sweet, I kind of like to just like lean into it. So this one is so rose. I also love the Chloe rose scent, but it's just like, it literally smells like roses and I love it. And this one is like it's vanilla, obviously. And it's also very warm and cinnamony. So this is like a really nice winter scent. I used to not understand the whole like seasonal scent thing, but now I totally get it. Speaking of summer scents, the Beach Walk from Replica, this is like Another really unique one. I'm gonna smell crazy after this, like spraying 4 different perfumes. I don't know how to describe it. It smells like beach walk. Like it smells like very beachy, summery, like kind of salty, but kind of sweet. I love this one if you want like a summertime scent that's like not super girly. Another summer scent I love, I mentioned it in one of my previous videos where I did like a Scentbird sponsorship. And I think like my code and my discount stuff still applies. So I'll put in the description below because you can get like a huge discount with my code. But there's this scent called Good Habit from Reflect. And that is also like a very summery, aquatic, citrusy scent. But that one I find a little bit more light and refreshing than this one. So that's like one of my favorites recently. And as far as like floral scents go, this is the Flower Bomb Ruby Orchid from Victor and Rolf. Victor and Rolf. I like this because it's more of like a deep floral scent. This feels like a more kind of like seductive, I don't know, I hate describing scents as seductive because it's not like you're smelling me and then you're seduced. It smells like a bit more grown and like full-bodied. Whoa, I just went on like a really intense tangent, and if you don't care about scents, then, well, I don't know why you listen to that. Okay, but that brings us to the end of this video. I now have to move this into my closet. Like, there wasn't enough room to do this in my closet, but now I'm like, I feel like everything's gonna fall out when I try and get it in there. I hope you guys enjoyed just like hanging out and chatting. This is making me really, like, I can't talk today. I really miss videos like this. I know I'll probably get questions about like certain yarns in this video. I obviously am not going to list every single one, but you can leave it in the comments and I'll try and reply and get back to you. And as always, you know, let me know if there are any videos you want to see. Feel free to follow my other socials, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye guys!